Hello.
Hello. I was about to hit leave meeting. That was so silly of me. Let me get my water.
I have to do this.
Hello. Hello. I don't even know what you can see right now because I can't see my own camera. Okay.
Oh my god, I hate anything and everything. Okay. We're gonna make these kind of quick.
Yeah. Rankings week 8. We had a double eviction this week. I say had because it is in fact past tense. Normally, Stephen and I will record these between the beta meeting and eviction, but this week, due to our schedules, we were not able to film until after the eviction, which happened to be after a double eviction this time. So we do know who the 2 people that went home are. However, we did lock in our gameplay scores for the week before the first eviction. So the scores will reflect exactly what they would consistently each week. With that being said, we will definitely give our thoughts on the game moving forward with the final 6. So without further ado, I believe we start with Grace Fader.
Let me check my rankings. Hold on. Okay. Are you starting or am
I? I can start. Grace had 7s from both of us. So this week, if the veto, Grace needed the veto not to be used. If Michael or Camilo left this week, Grace is left in the single-handedly best position. She's got Eliav on her side. She's got Molly and Haley on her side. She's got Cade on her side, and that is one other person that's not. And she's got Monet on her side too. Unfortunately, Cade really screwed her over. Really screwed her over. Grace had to burn a bridge. Did burn the right. I know I'm not even. If you asked me before the double, I would have said burn the right bridge. Now I don't think burn the correct one. I think Haley and Molly.
I think burning Monet was better than burning Molly, and then also Haley.
I disagree because you burn. Currently, she has Haley and Molly against her anyways. They are targeting Grace now that Eliav is gone.
But that did
Monet wouldn't have been targeting Grace at this point because Monet had no other allies.
But also that is circumstantial that Eliav went home. That was not directly caused by the fact that she put up Monet.
Oh, for sure. But
these are independent actions.
I had a tough time believing that Eliav was going to be getting through the week anyway. So again, my gameplay score for the week will reflect setting home Monet. It was the lesser of 2 evils in terms of the decision between Monet or Haley and Molly at the time. But on the grand scheme of things, having to put someone else up, if as soon as Michael or Camilo were not next to each other, they were going to stay. And I really see that being the case for a while. I really see Camilo, Cade, and Michael carrying the votes for the rest of the game. What's interesting, though, is I don't see them carrying the comps. So it'll be really interesting. So for my score, I did lower my score with Grace because she is now a huge threat. However, I didn't lower it that much. I went down to a 6.
This is really interesting because I actually went up to an 8. Yeah.
Really? I
think relative to my other scores that I'm going to be giving this week, it's unfortunate I have to give this one first. Relative to my other scores that a lot of people are going down this week, I think Grace has the absolute clearest shot to the end and to win this game.
I heavily disagree.
I disagree with that. We clearly saw that if she was going to go on the block, she was going to stay. She is clearly the biggest threat to win this game.
If it was Grace, if it stayed Grace versus Haley in the double, Grace is out of here.
But it didn't.
I know it didn't, but I'm saying
and she has
Cade is the only person that's left with her. Molly, Haley, Michael, and Camilo are all targeting Grace next.
I don't
And
know.
they've all said that. I do not think that Grace has even
And
close to
she's
the clear
now
shot.
that she's made it through this double eviction, she has this power to win the next HOH.
That's the one key thing.
Well, I'm saying she can win HOH and she will be HOH at Final Four if she's still in the game. I think she can most definitely win at least one competition this week, one competition next week. Doesn't have to win any competitions about Final Four. Wins part 1, part 3. She wins the game. She needs 4 comp wins to win the game right now.
Like I said, no, I don't think Grace is an unlikely winner, but I think saying that Grace is the clearest shot out of the cast left, depending on her winning.
I agree. So I think it's very I would have been going down if I knew that Eliav was leaving. Obviously, she lost a clear ally in the double eviction.
I would have been up to an 8 if it was Michael or Camilla that left this week.
But I honestly it would have been worse for her to send if Molly went up. Yes, she has Monet, but who?
No, I'm saying I would have gone up to an 8 had the veto not been used, and it was just Michael or Camilla.
Yeah. I still stand by this. 8 and 6 makes 7.
That's so interesting. This is the first thing we disagreed on.
Yeah, this one. In my mind, I see Grace winning this season.
See, in my mind, I really see Grace being the Olivia of the season. I see Grace being.
She can't be. Oh wait. Yeah, Olivia's at 4. I was thinking of Rocky. Never
mind. I see Grace being. I see Grace.
Especially if she's in the end with Camilo and Cade, she's beating both of them in competition.
I have thoughts on this now. In competition.
Yeah,
sure.
she's gonna win the competitions. Or people who have not, Camilo and Michael. Come on, who's winning the final HOH here?
Part 3 is a crapshoot, my friend.
But she clearly knows the people that she's played with better than Michael.
But it is a crapshoot. Part 3 has nothing to do with knowing the jury.
I just agree with that. I just agree with that.
Fun fact: there was a statistically done statistics done on if you answered A, just all A the entire time for HOH Part 3, how many times would you win? And if it's random, and it's proven that if the math works out, answering A just the entire time, it is literally a random competition.
An actual Big Brother?
Well,
we don't do it like that.
We do the exact competition.
No, but they don't put it in alphabetical order like we do. It is completely random what answer is correct. We don't choose the correct answer. We put the answer choices in alphabetical order. It could be B every time.
No, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying statistically, choosing one answer, you will win 1/3 amount of the time.
Okay, well, I think that if you know the jury members and you've talked to them throughout the entire season, I feel like you would know what competition they liked the most if they say, "Oh my God, that was such a fun competition. I really liked that."
But when you put in answers that are meant to trip you up because they're answers that they would say, it would be one thing if it's an answer that they would say and an answer that they would not say. If it's 2 answers that they would say,
we're diving into
an SAT question. Which of these is more correct? And it's a random competition. You cannot say that Grace is guaranteed to beat Camilo in HOH Part 3. If that's your argument?
I'm not saying she's guaranteed. I'm saying she has a much better chance. We've seen that the people who have played harder, with some exceptions, win Part 3. Was Emma winning Part 3? Come on.
Okay, but Juliana and
lost to Reza, who was also an amazing player.
I think you're giving Part 3 too much credit here. It's a random competition.
I'm just saying, so someone like Camilo, who has not really been paying attention all season, I think has a worse chance to win. But Whatever. We're going way too off topic. Let's move on.
Camilla.
Yeah, perfect. I can go first. Okay, Camilo. We knew he was staying. That we knew this was going to be a unanimous vote for Monet. So I mean, I don't really have much to say. I feel like at this point, if he sat next to anybody, he doesn't win. Maybe no one. I don't think anybody. He wins next to anybody. That being said, I also don't see him going home. So 3 is what I'm giving him.
I also stayed at my 3, and it was because he was on the block. And at the time of the veto meeting, I very much agreed. Here's something really interesting. When we announced to the jury that Camilo won HOH, they all freaked out. Yes, Camilo. We love Camilo. The jury loves Camilo, and it's the exact same reason the jury loved Isabel last season. Camilo, at the very least, does have, like, when someone like Michael, you look at him, he hasn't talked to anyone, as of recently. Camilo still has. He was close with Monet. He was close with Kalani. He was close with, at least on a personal relationship. Funny enough, he feels differently. But nonetheless, they all like Camilo. Sure, they say you need to go after Haley. You need to go after Grace. I hope that come finale night, if Haley or Grace or Cade is there, that they respect their games. But
I also
currently,
think
the jury had to vote for who they like the most right now, out of the final 6, I think Camilla wins that vote.
To be fair, it was also Kalani, Cal, and Amina. And then the other 6 jurors, I think, will have like at least an ounce of common sense. So I think it's fine. I don't think that's a thing. That was the same thing. That was the same thing with Isabel last season, and she got 2 votes, and it was like, okay.
For sure. But I don't think it's as much of a, like, the jury's currently saying, and when I say the jury, I say Kalani and Cal, who are still convinced that they were the geniuses of the season and everyone else sucks, are saying Kate hasn't done anything. What's Haley doing? Like, I'm like,
but this always happens. Once the new jurors go in and they give the new information and they're like, what are you talking about? Like,
yeah, but also the people in the past weren't Kalani and Cal. So we'll see.
I still think that's going to happen. I think
that it is still only 2 votes.
I think that
the point is we have a score that is 3 for both of us.
Yeah. Okay. Where is it? Okay. Who's next? Monet. Monet really got screwed this week.
I know.
She almost won the HOH. Made a deal with Grace to fall off the wall. Grace had to break the deal. She said she threw the veto. I don't know if that's true or not, but
I mean, she got second.
I know, but I didn't seem like she was throwing it. There was really nothing she could have done. I loved Monet. So I don't feel like my score, like I when people get screwed and there's nothing really they can do, like I feel bad going really low. And also I liked Monet, so I'm going with a 3.
Gotcha. I agree that Monet got screwed and there was nothing that she could do. However, the fact that Monet couldn't do anything is, unfortunately, in my opinion, was something that was in her control from all the weeks in the past that she didn't say anything game-wise to people. It unfortunately caught up with her. And sure, like just last week, she started to really turn along and get in with some people. But when you're this late into the game, a la Andrew Kalmeyer, trying to turn along right now and get in with the people that have been close all game, one thing happens and you're screwed. So I am going to go down to a 2 because ultimately I do think it is her fault despite her getting screwed. Her fault, not that she got screwed, but her fault that she didn't have the votes behind her.
But also it was very unfortunate that she was next to Camilo, because I think that I'm looking at this list. She probably stays next to a lot of people here, I think.
I disagree.
I think if Molly went up, Molly would have gone home.
I disagree.
Or it would have been really close. It would not have been unanimous.
I think if Molly goes up, Cade votes to keep. Oh wait, it would have been Molly versus who? Camilo.
Yeah. Cade and
Oh,
Michael. Yeah. Well, no, we would be talking about Molly versus oh yeah, I guess we'd be talking about
yeah, it
oh
wouldn't be
yeah.
Molly versus anyone
I forgot
else.
she wasn't on the block initially.
Yeah.
Um Rip, she just started going up too. So sad. Sad. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
Moving on to Cade. Oh, Cade. You can go.
I'm feeling we're gonna disagree here too. Do you want to go first?
No, because if you think that we're gonna disagree, then we obviously know what each other's gonna say. Doesn't matter. You want to go?
I can go if you want me to.
Yeah, go on.
Okay. Last week Cade's had 8s from both of us.
Mm.
So a lot has happened with Cade. Newsflash, my score did go down this week. If I had to guess though, I don't think it went down as much as I think. Again, I don't know what Steven's score is. I don't think I'm going down as low as Steven's score will be, if I have to guess. Cade started this week saying that he accidentally voted to evict Cal, blah, 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 blah. Texted Cal a screenshot. Cal exposed this information to Molly after they were out of the game. That's a whole other thing. Do I blame Cal for that, for tampering with the game after being evicted and being slightly bitter? Yeah, absolutely. However, it is also on Cade for exposing to a jury member information that he knows very well reacts. So it is on Cade as well. So that already placed distrust with Molly and Haley. There was also major distrust with Eliav, who really picked up on the fact that Cade is the one that's been playing him and been flipping people, and was pushing for Cade to go up. Luckily, Cade is one of Grace's closest allies, and I really don't think Grace was ever truly considering putting up Cade, as we saw with just Grace being like, Monet's got to go up. I think it would have been better for Grace to put up Cade, in all honesty.
Interesting.
Because I think if Grace just told Cade he was a pawn, Cade stays. Camilo actually goes home. Because Michael, Molly, and Haley all vote to keep Cade. Eliot probably
Are you
evicts him.
sure? You really believe that?
If Grace wanted Cade to stay,
I think if Molly and Haley saw
that's
the
true. If
opportunity to
Molly
take
and
out
Haley,
Cade, they would do it.
I think the problem is it was Cade versus Camilla. If it was Cade versus Michael, I think Cade probably goes. Oh, but Cade won the veto, so he couldn't have even gone up. So
No.
wasn't even a consideration. So my score with all of that lowered. That being said, this is now not affected by the score. Eliav was the person that was coming after Cade most. Eliav is now out of the game. In the final 6, you have Grace, who is now left without her number 1, and I think Cade is her new number 1. You have Michael and Camilo, who don't know how to talk to anyone outside of Cade. And you have Haley and Molly, who, although definitely have reason to distrust Cade now, their conversations, they say their next 2 targets, Camilo and Grace. I don't think they bring Cade to 3, but right now that is not a concern of mine. So much can change. So do I think that Cade has the clearest shot to the end? I'm going to be honest, probably not. But currently in this final 6, with Grace, Haley and Molly, Michael and Camilo, all targeting each other in 3 different directions, he is right in the middle. If I was going to give a score past the double, I sincerely would go up to a 9. However, this was before the double thing, and there was a lot of mess this week. So I'm going down to a 7 with the hopes that it's up to an 8-9 in this next week.
Great. I gave Cade an 8 last week. because I truly saw how connected he was to everybody else. Nobody was even looking at him, and he crafted for the entire game, or from the jury or whatever. He crafted his text messages so perfectly that like I would never be like, oh yeah, you are threatening to me. Like so perfectly every time. This week, the debacle with his vote, Molly and Haley are still left like, I don't think we can trust him. Like moving forward, like if this is what he has lied about, and he admitted that if he didn't get caught, he wouldn't have told the truth. Like, come on. Like that's bad for people trusting you.
He also, during the double, said to Molly, wait, we can flip the vote, just you and me right now. And Molly was like, but we're going to betray Haley. And he was like, okay, it's not going to happen. Molly took that right to Haley and said, he's so sus.
So that, and then also after he won the veto, he immediately went to Grace and was like, I'm using it on Michael, by the way. That was not, Grace was like, okay, like show me, like she said in her DR, she was like, show me more that you care more for Michael than for me. And I was like, yeah, that's like exactly what I would think too. Like that was such a terrible thing to say. So I feel like if those were the reasons that I gave him an 8 in the past, and he's not doing those things, or he didn't do those things this week, or he lost that position, I don't feel any need to kind of stay up there. Obviously, I went down. I'm really upset. I think that Eliav going is definitely good for him. I guess he didn't know that Eliav was targeting him more than Grace, but he definitely should not have tried to flip that vote.
Yeah, that was horrible.
It was like 2 weeks ago, I was like, wow, this man is so calculated. And now I'm like, what happened to that?
He's now really in power, and he's not power crazy, but he's power frantic. And I don't think he knows what to do with all of it. He can't sit calm.
So I actually only went down to a 6. I think you
That's where I thought you were going, yeah.
Oh wait, I put this in the wrong spot. Oops. I think this game, my score would be I mean, it wouldn't because it wasn't affected, but this game would be far worse for him moving forward if something different happened in this double eviction. Like, would be very bad. I do think you're right that like Michael and Camilla aren't like, those three are so annoying because two of them don't know they're doing. It's just like, oh. I think that once Kate is on the block, Molly and Haley have absolutely no problem evicting him. And moving forward,
Who else?
And moving forward, there's only 3 eviction votes, so they control the vote if Cade's on the block, and one of them's not HOH. Which
my question is who puts, because I don't think Haley and Molly, at least in this next week or two, are the ones to put Cade on the block.
If they say we have to make a big move, I think Cade would be their big move. I think that they would think that is a big move.
I agree, but I don't think they ever put up Cade as an initial nominee. Cade only goes up.
Why does that matter?
Not for a backdoor, but for a great. We know at this point, if we put up Cade, he cannot come off the block. Like, I do not see them putting up Cade with the chance that he could win the veto when they still have targets like Grace and Camilla. Like, I really see, if one of them wins this final 6 HOH, I really see the nominees being Grace and Camillo or Michael and Camillo, with either Grace or Cade being the backdoor. And I think Grace is a bigger threat to them first. Like, don't get me wrong, they don't trust Cade, but right now, I really think they're in a mindset of they're a bigger fish to fry currently.
I honestly don't know.
In my opinion, they would be crazy to keep someone like Camilla or Michael.
I know,
I
think that Molly likes to feel betrayed so much that she's like, I want vengeance. I actually think that's what's going through their heads. But okay. Oh no, this is so sad. Okay. Eliav. What did Eliav have?
Eliav had 5s from both of us, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw in our score last week.
Yes,
Last week was his lowest score of the season so far. And I mean, I won't actually, I wouldn't be, we'll see. Going into this week with Grace as the HOH, it had such a possibility for it to be a fantastic week for Eliav. Michael or Camilo leaving for Eliav, little did he know, would have been amazing. Would have been amazing, as we saw with what happened in the double. As soon as Monet went up and Eliav was just like, let's take Monet out, he was left in a bad position. And with Monet going out in the double and Cade, Camilo, Michael, Haley, and Molly all saying Eliav needs to go, and the only person left in the game besides those people is Grace, aka the one person who could not compete for HOH. I thought the odds of him making it through the week were very slim. So I did go down to a 4. It wasn't even anything that he specifically did. It was more so what he didn't do.
Mm-hmm.
And after the Amina vote, he continued to just be super wishy-washy, was super wishy-washy on the Kalani vote, was the one vote that was guaranteed to save Cal, and hasn't locked in the allies. And just right now before this eviction was like, yeah, we're definitely voting to keep Camilo, right? And it's like, okay, oh, look at that. So yes, we cannot show these notifications.
I'm not.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay, I can get my score. You said 4, right?
Yeah.
I actually stayed at my 5. I felt like, I don't know. I felt like he could have pulled through the week. I obviously, going into the eviction, I didn't know that he was going to go home, obviously. But yeah, I didn't feel like, looking at the week that happened, that it warranted my score lowering, because if he was actually successful in convincing, like if Cade, I don't know, but that was my score. I stayed at my 5 going into the eviction, and it was very, very unfortunate that happened, because he was very close to winning HOH, and it was very sad. I would have, I don't know. I think it was his time to go.
Why does it say I have low battery? I am literally charging my phone.
Yeah. So yeah. I think. Yeah. Okay. That's my score.
Okay. Haley.
Oh, let me update this. Haley. Where is she? Oh, she had 7 from me, 6 from you.
Mm-hmm. You want to go first or second?
No, let me look at my score. You can go first. Let me see what my score is.
Okay. Haley. We said it in the beginning of the season with Haley almost flipping 7 votes. Not only almost something, Haley flipping 7 votes and her allies bailing last minute. Haley is a really good player, a really good thinker, and has proven, I think, every single time when she needs to win a competition, she's going to win a competition. Her strategy was almost flawless during Stay or Fold. Her taking out Cal was a huge resume builder, first of all. With Grace winning HOH, she was definitely safe. And moving into the double, people were so focused on Grace and Eliav that sure, she could have been used as a pawn, and was, but I don't think there was ever really a circumstance that the majority of the votes would have gone Haley's way. With Eliav out of the game, there definitely is a chance of that happening now. But that being said, I think these end game competitions are going to be really suited to Haley most out of everyone left in the game. I think Haley is now ready for it. I think Haley and Grace both. They're the two for sure.
And that's going to be really, really interesting.
But in terms of this final six, this final six HOH is a little iffy, but in terms of this veto, I don't know why I really see it leaning towards Haley or Camilo, to be fair. I think so that's really key. I also think that sure, Cade says if Cade is the only one that Haley has to worry about, in my opinion, which is really weird to say. But Grace is going after Camilo primarily. Michael and Camilo are going after Grace primarily. She's kind of sitting in a middle position where I don't think a shot will be fired at her. I think she'll be able to survive 6. And once she survives 6, we get into a weird spot of like, it just comes down to comp wins and where 1 or 2 votes lie. And sure, that could mean things go south for Haley, but I think she has a really good case in the end. I think she's a really good chance in these comps. I'm feeling good. Currently, I think Haley is the one that has the greatest chance to win the entire game. That is a collection of getting to the end with the jury votes next to the right person. I think all of those things combined, currently my pick is Haley. It's not rock solid. There is definitely a chance that something could go wrong. But I am raising my score to a 7 for Haley this week.
I actually also did the same thing. I'm not on the right thing. Hold on. I agree with that. I think that she's gonna absolutely kill these ending competitions. But I think Grace is a really big contender for them as well. I think that when people try to target Grace, this is what I worry about for Haley, because I agree that she could do really well in these competitions. I think that whereas Grace could be this big target, I think she wins. That's what I see happening. She's already won, like, what she had, like 7 comp wins. I think Haley.
No, she actually is at 6.
I think I worry that Haley could get caught in this, like, there's not that many people to put up type deal. Oh my gosh, Haley did do this, Haley did that, and she ends up sitting on the block, and it's like, oh. But that being said, like, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about how great of a player she is, and how she's killing it, and she totally deserves a score. I just might worry about her in the future, depending on, you know, how things shape out, who wins competitions, things like that. But I think she definitely, I could see her going up very soon. Okay. Great. Michael.
Last week was at what?
6s from both of us.
Oh, that's interesting. Michael's become a meme. There's kind of no other way to put it. I can confidently say we're at the point of the season now where we start to do this, and we're really also looking at win equity now. And for me personally, if you put Michael next to Cade, if you put Michael next to Camilo, if you put Michael next to Grace, if you put Michael next to Haley, or if you put Michael next to Molly, he loses every single one of these jury votes. And I don't think there's anything that he can do about it at this point, because doing something about it involves winning comp wins, and he isn't going to do that. I have no faith that he will win any comps. Except maybe the final 6 HOH is like the last one I could see him winning. And even then, I don't think it'll be enough to win him favor with the jury. So I don't have much more to say than that. He's in a tricky spot. I think like Grace definitely nominates him. I think even Haley and Molly would. Granted, I think he probably stays next to Camilo, but that only buys you 1 week, assuming Camilo doesn't win the veto, which exactly. Very well could. Camilo is no one to scoff at in comps, in my opinion.
And he doesn't think that he's like he
thinks he's bad, but he really has won in some clutch times.
And he's come close the other times, I feel like.
Yeah. So I mean, for me, you know what? I'm trying to think of how much I want to change my rankings. I'll be transparent. Initially, I had Michael at a 4. But Camilla was on the block. I'm just looking at it and I go, I think Camilla's chances are better than Michael's. And I don't think Camilla deserves the 3 if Michael's at a 4.
That's also partly because he just won HO. I think he's fresh in your mind, and then Michael.
That's true. That's true. I'm just gonna keep it.
I had a 4 as well. I'm staying with my 4. Yeah, I agree. I don't think. Who did I say before couldn't win against anybody? Camilo.
Yeah.
I think Camilo beats Michael. So yeah. Great. What a great season we're having here. Okay. Molly. Oh my god.
Molly.
Okay, wait, can I start with Molly?
Why? How?
No, I'm starting with Molly.
How is Molly still here?
Molly Murphy is crazy. Like she not like medically crazy, like her gameplay is everywhere.
How is she still in the house?
But somehow it's working.
Like, listen, for anyone playing a future season, textbook, if you play like Molly Murphy has played, you should have been out week 2, which is when she was going to be backdoored. And I really think this is no discredit to Molly Murphy, but it is about to discredit Molly Murphy a little bit. But like, listen, you play the season that you're on, right? Molly's game has worked because you had people like Cal, like Kalani, like Charles, like even Amina to a certain extent, where you had these polar opposite players. You had the Cal, Kalani, and Charles of the world that just play everywhere, and Molly looks smile to them. And then you have the really smart people like Amina, like Grace, like Eliov, like Cade, like Haley, that kind of just value that player. Cal, in their weird mind of what the game was, is convinced that Molly is the genius mastermind of everything. No, they're the only one that thinks that, and I don't think they will be convincing anyone else of that fact. Amina's like, Molly literally got John evicted, and that was when she stopped playing.
I think against the right person, like, she could win. She could win the season.
I disagree. I think against Michael, and I don't think Molly brings Michael.
You don't think Camilo?
No, not as of right now.
I'm just saying, not that I'm like pulling for Molly Murphy here, but I'm just saying, like actually credit to her. Like, this is insane. Like,
no, truly, it is crazy how, because one thing that Molly is good about is the exact thing that got Eliov evicted. Eliov did not tell people, yes, I'm with you. I'm definitely with you. We're doing this. He did the exact opposite. Now, Molly does that past a certain point where it's actually, I think, could really get her in trouble, and has, but those people have gone home. And currently, her spot in the game right now is also bad because people like Kate and Michael and commit, like no one, Haley's the only person that's with her at this point in the game. But up to this point has been like, yes, I'm with you. Yes, we're voting out this person, even if she's been lying straight through her teeth. And hasn't always gotten caught, which is crazy. I am unfortunately just staying at my 4.
I'm actually going up to a 5. Just because, like, I do think depending on how the rest of the game shapes out, if all of the major threats leave, which could happen, like we could be at the end with 2. Like, this is so bad.
We could season 1 this thing.
Like,
the final 3 could be Molly, Michael, and Camilo.
This is so terrible to say. Sorry, season 1, and sorry, season 9. But yeah, I think she could win in the end with those 3 if she makes it there. She just needs to like step it up a little more and like win some things and drive some things. And I think if she goes on this vengeance tour and gets Cade out, like that is a big move right there.
Here's the thing though, if this season 1's itself, I see Molly being David Fassbender, and I don't think anybody votes for her.
That's really interesting. I don't agree. But also, I could be wrong about that. So I don't know. Did I put in her score yet? Let's see. No, I did not. God, this is really depressing.
I don't think so. I think the scores are lower because it's in a state of flux and we don't know. At this point in the season, last time, we really knew that it was Dalton, Olivia, and Rocky that were walking away with it. At this point, we really do feel like it's going to be either Haley, Grace, or Cade. But I'm not as confident in that fact. I think there is a world where Camilla can pull it.
For sure.
I think there is a world where Molly can pull it through. I won't talk about Michael.
Wait, okay.
Sorry.
I kind of want to give my predictions for the rest of the season.
Oh, I'm not doing that.
No, I want to say it on video, so I have it.
I truthfully, and the reason why I don't say it is because weirdly, whereas in like looking at it with season 8, you clearly had Steven and Rocky going after Olivia. You had Olivia going after Steven and Rocky, and you had Dalton and Isabel in the middle, and Elijah on the Olivia side after the Michael vote. It was a clear 2 against 1. Dalton and Isabel were in the middle. You could predict that it was one of the other 2 sides going home next. With this final 6, I truly could not tell you who's going home next. I really think it could be any of the 6 of them. I think any of the 6 of them could win this next HOH. I think any of the 6 of them could be the next one evicted. And that's crazy.
Okay. I'm going to go solely off of vibes.
Wait, just so you know, also currently Eliav and Monet. Oh, okay, gotcha.
So they're not in the game anymore. So that would be why. I'm going solely off of vibes. I'm getting it on video. So if I'm right, then we'll know. But if I'm completely far off, then we'll see. I think
the winner of the season to go home next right now.
I'm not even gonna do like who's with who. I'm going solely based off vibes.
Like who seems like the 6th place finisher?
Cade gives me 6th place vibes. Michael gives me 5th place vibes.
I do see that.
Molly gives me 4th place vibes. Haley gives me 3rd place vibes, and then Grace beats Camilla in the end.
Okay, I agree with that, but I would flip one thing. I think Grace gives me 3rd place vibes, and I think Haley beats Camilla.
Interesting.
In terms of the vibes.
Interesting. Honestly, a Grace or a Haley, like both would be magnificent.
It's also due for, I say due for, we have had more female winners, but since season 3, it has gone Juliana, James, Maeve, Sean, Lily, Dalton. If the pattern continues,
I know.
Molly, Grace, or Haley will win this season.
We do have 3 and 3 in the end.
Yeah, our teams currently, I currently have Haley, Grace, and Michael, and Steven has Camilo, Molly, and Cade. Really interesting.
Okay.
When will these be posted? No, season 10 will not have started by this point. So
no, none of the rankings will be before season 10 or after season 10 starts.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, then we'll leave it at that.
Okay, I'm gonna delete this. Okay. Good night. I'm tired as hell.